Everybody's the Mad Master here. I'm just doing this quick video. Basically, I kind of figured something out today, and that's regarding why a lot of right-wingers watch Jimmy Dore and Kyle Kalinske, and why I watch people like Stick, Sex, and Hammer, and sometimes even Razor Fist, and some of the other people. So I was watching Actual Justice Warriors video about the Jimmy Dore versus TYT controversy. So on the political compass, I did a test a couple of weeks ago, and I came out pretty damn libertarian, in the green, left side of libertarian. But the point being is that I would say on that libertarian axis, like in the bottom part of the political compass test, if you look this up, I would say most of the people that watch some of these more lefty kind of people, like not, obviously not Young Turks any longer. Some of the more like Kyle Kalinskis and the Jimmy Dores, or even Breaking Points or whatever. I bet they're more on the right side of a libertarian, more some of the right wingers calling, watching that. And I bet the opposite holds true for the other ones I mentioned as well. There's some other ones, Tim Pool, these, I think because everybody on the libertarian part of the compass, and, disagree on many things with the right wing, the so-called right wing libertarians. I know Tarl Warwick did a video where he claims all authoritarian systems are inherently leftist, which I disagree with. But that's because of history and just because of a lot of other things. But I'm not going to try to debunk that or anything. That's his opinion. I think there's an argument to be made there, but I just don't agree completely. I don't really want to do a video about that. But I thought it was and there's some things that he says and kind of makes me cringe sometimes. Like, be one day where there's like 4 videos. I watch all 4 videos. I'm like, I agree with every single one. And then the next day is like, usually it's more like the partisan kind of stuff that he says about the Republicans versus Democrats and stuff like that. And, bashes all people on the left. But then another video he'll do is like, oh, well, I agree with Glenn Greenwald and Jimmy Dore is one of the better guys. And like, okay, shit. It's kind of ironic, but that's kind of how it works. So I think we're all, I'm not trying to make this a solidarity video, but I think we're all opposed to a lot of the same things that, if my, globalism is globalization video or whatever, they're the same thing. I think a lot of us are opposed to the same systems and a lot of the same stuff. So that's kind of my point with this video, is I think we all have that tendency to be against a lot of these things like big tech and like, we might disagree with people getting, government health care or not. These little things, I guess they are big things, but little things about little/big things about the economy and stuff like that. But we don't like the consolidation of power with these world governing bodies or these huge, conglomerates. I mean, that's something that all of us agree on. And then these people that are the neoliberals and the neocons are the people that want these bodies to perpetuate themselves and, are focusing on other stuff like wokeism to distract people from their consolidation of power. So I just realized that today. It's like, I want to, I think we should, make a bridge between, and, actually Kyle Kalinske did this video like 5 fucking years ago about the libertarian right and the, the left. He calls himself a libertarian leftist. I would say he's more of a social democrat with like a socially libertarian streak. He's not like a conservative, like socially, he's very libertarian. And I almost say like Joe Rogan's kind of a centrist libertarian. I kind of find myself more in that group as time goes on, because I don't know. I see a lot of things happening, but yeah, I would say like the libertarian side of the political compass, we're all watching each other's videos, even if we disagree, because we don't like the authoritarian part of the political compass in any way. And you could argue that Trump is part of that authoritarian right, but it's more complicated than that. So that's how I see it as far as that goes. But I'm going to continue to watch some of these people that I watch, and I think they should. It's good that they do the same on the other side. I think it's good that Tarl Warwick or some of these guys watch Jimmy Dore or read Glenn Greenwald or Matt Taibbi or whatever, because I think we're all kind of in the same boat in some ways, and they may disagree, but oh no, you're a leftist, leftoid, whatever the fuck. But it's like, but I agree with you that we should pull out of these countries. I agree with you that these world governing bodies, including sometimes some health ones, have some really bad ideas and messages. And I agree with you on, authoritarians taking power and, as far as like people's rights and all that stuff. So I agree with you on like maybe it's 50%, maybe sometimes it's 70 or 80 or 90, depending on the subject, depending on even the video with some of these people. So yeah, I think we should continue that road, because I think we can. I don't know. I don't know how far it can go, but it's kind of like Dennis Kucinich and Ron Paul used to have co-author bills together and stuff, and people probably thought, on the libertarian right, probably thought Dennis Kucinich is a commie, but it's like, compared to like these, it's like, it just depends on how much power do you think Dennis Kucinich wanted for himself, or Ralph Nader for that matter. Obviously, they wanted some power over people, true, but compared to like your actual tanky or these, some of these, or these neoliberals like that do want these authoritarian things, I think we agree that technology, them trying to, the thing that I watched about the proposed cell phone misinformation thing was on Breaking Points, which is Crystal Ball and Sager and Jetty, who are. I mean, at least Crystal Ball is progressive, whatever you want to call it. A lot of this stuff about surveillance and all that stuff is from the left, or what's left of the left that doesn't agree with it. And and Turks might probably still get lip service to it, but then the right hand isn't, the left hand is doing something else, right? So I just thought about that watching that Actual Justice Warrior, which I watched some of his videos. He's not bad. I think he's a trad con. That's my interpretation of him. Same with what was his name? Zeducation. He's definitely more traditional conservative. I enjoy his content immensely. I enjoy immensely because some of that stuff is so hilarious. I share a lot of the memes from his channel on Facebook and stuff. But I think he's great. I mean, I used to hate Republicans. In all honesty, I grew up being told, sort of being indoctrinated to hate Republicans in a certain way. And now I'm just like, well, I disagree with them on many things, obviously. And and it's frustrating, right? But compared to there's an authoritarian streak amongst this certain group of people. And it doesn't matter if they're Republican or Democrat. It doesn't matter. I'm not trying to. This sounds like conspiratorial, but it's like these, billionaires and this certain class of people that are kind of pushing a lot of these agendas and narratives that, you could say they're loosely tied in together, or you could say that they're all kind of. Not like, I don't know. It depends on what you think, about all that stuff. But nevertheless, the libertarian left and the libertarian right are both against authoritarianism on some level. Tyranny on some level. I don't think that the libertarian left, whatever you want to call it, if you believe that there is a libertarian left, let's just say you do, okay? And there is some proof that this exists, no matter what right-wingers say. Just like I'm going to just put it this way. So a lot of libertarian, people on the left say there's no such thing as a libertarian right. It's not a real thing. There's just classical liberal or or like right-wing fascist or whatever. And then people on the libertarian right say there's no such thing as a libertarian left. That's, oh, just contradictory in terms. So I'm just going to say, well, I'm basing things on the political compass test, which is very flawed, has a lot of problems. But if you want to go by that axis, the four-part axis, the libertarian left, libertarian right, probably agree on a great many things, whereas the authoritarian right and authoritarian left also do. So we can unite on this, going after the oligarchy. Our solution might be, our ideas for solutions might be different. You could agree that big pharma is a bad thing, on the right, but you think it's government collusion, which deregulation would help, right? And we would disagree with that, but at least we both are talking about the same thing. Oh, big pharma, we'll go again, we'll agree that importing drugs from Canada, that happened with Rand Paul, and I think Bernie Sanders signed on to that. Stuff like that, like big tech has too much power. Right wing's talking about all that now. Economic populism, a lot of that kind of stuff. Just things like that, tariffs, and we could look at a lot of these things. Of course, free trade is not very libertarian in a certain way. Or I'm saying that no, attacking free trade is not very libertarian. But part of a lot of this free trade is not really free because there's these global conglomerates and organizations that are putting these things together. More bureaucracy and more power in the hands of a few. So we agree on the great many things. Stop the drug war, stop the wars, free up that money for who knows what that could help with, technology and just all sorts of stuff. Stop surveilling people. It's against all the amendments of the Constitution. Stop suppressing our freedoms, civil liberties, should have, that's why probably you did see people like Glenn Greenwald talking about, he wasn't outwardly like anti-lockdown, but he did mention it from time to time, and he even posted a lot of lists of Democratic hypocrites during the whole crisis, the virus crisis. Matt Taibbi actually, I'm not sure that Glenn Greenwald talked about it that much because I wasn't really following him up until like the last 4 or 5 months all that much, but like I know Taibbi did actually talk about it since like May of last year or April of last year, like the civil liberties thing, and just we're libertarian left, libertarian right. We're both kind of against some of how wokeism has been used to kind of push this corporatist power. So we disagree on the solutions to these problems. We agree that these problems exist. You ask your average, blue check Twitter so-called liberal Democrat what the problems are. They'll say Donald Trump and his supporters, and yeah, there's some bad people that support Trump, and there's some bad things that Trump stood for. But you ask people who are more on the libertarian side of both political wings, or whatever you want to call it, which are they're kind of bullshit and arbitrary and made up anyways. And they'll say they'll say big tech, corporate power to some extent, even if the solutions that we propose are different. And just a lot of the stuff that's going on, we'll agree on most of the problems. Maybe we won't agree on climate change. Maybe we won't agree on stuff like that necessarily, but we do agree on some of the basic, our freedoms are being taken away. That's one thing that we all agree on. But the authoritarian left, the authoritarian right, or the normal, neoliberals, your Pete Buttigieg's or your Kamala Harris's or Jeb Bush's or Mitt Romney's of the world do not agree on that. They don't agree with us, the left libertarians or dissident left, or the left or right libertarians. And there is some weird stuff going on both sides. You know, there's some Nazis and stuff on the libertarian right or whatever that they cavort with. You know, some of these people cavort with some of these people, you know, including people I like that cavort with these people, like these sort of white supremacists. And on the left, you have these Stalinists and all this shit. So it's like, we got to be careful because these more fringe, less establishment political factions do sometimes promulgate bad stuff, because, you know, I'm opposed to Stalinism just as much as you know, Nazism. Matter of fact, I think you know, attacking both communism and fascism have the concept of the other, you know. So you have the other, who is a different political class than you are in communism, and in fascism, or at least Nazism, or you have a different race instead of a different class. So it's the same fucking thing, it's just a, you know, different definition of the other. So, but yeah, I think we need to unite and fight the evil, you know, the authoritarians, and that's about all.